Hello there, Lynx here, and we are playing Mirage Noir Prologue. Also, I think the webcam will be a bit smaller because I'm also lower on the chair because my dog is also sitting on the chair, so I kinda can't move. Yeah, with that being said, it's actually 2 AM on a Friday night. I was supposed to start recording way earlier, but yeah, I had to walk the dog twice already at night. Who knows, maybe I'll have to do that another time. Maybe not. Hopefully at least one episode I can prepare. We'll see. The night was long. Why is this happening again? Why is it not saving the settings? It's weird. A headache crept under my skull, but I still preferred the discomfort than a healthy sleep. Sometimes it intensified. It got even stronger when a certain memory popped into my head. Who's that? It involved a distinct woman engulfed in a bright light. It is bright. She stood in front of me, so all I could see was her back and a faint smile. The rest of a woman's face was covered by her ridiculously long, white hair. And you can already tell that Lynx is into her. Same color as mine. No, I don't know, like white-haired characters, and I'm like, that's the one. Who was she to me? Was she my sister? She looked too young to be a mother, but maybe it was a very old recollection. What if she was your girlfriend? Fiancé? Wife? Whatever. Maybe it was just a coincidence, and we weren't even related. I didn't have a clue why she appeared in my head. Thinking about it made my headache worse, so I stopped straining my brain. Memories were not something I could rely on. They could be erased easily or be fakely implanted. There were real issues I should focus on. Like the girl that still slept soundly on my lap. And yet my legs are already so numb. If it weren't for her, I would still rot in my prison. I was grateful, but I should be cautious. After all, I don't know why she helped me, nor what are her true intentions. I was uneasy about the fact I deceived her. It didn't sit right with me, but I wouldn't change my decision. Understandable. I need to know what was going on. A silent mumble interrupted my stream of thoughts, I did hope that she would wake up soon, because my weak body was all numb. Told ya it was numb. The pressure of the body was hard to endure. Luckily, the murmur was a sign of change. Not long after it, she rolled onto the other side of the bed. I was freed from the burden of her wave. I quickly glanced at the corner to confirm my suspicions. The giant cat still silently observed me. Did it ever sleep? I wasn't afraid of it anymore, but I considered it a threat. I knew that if it didn't tolerate me, I would be dead by now. At least, the view of the world behind the window was nice. Yeah, a few trees here and there. From our point of view, everything was covered by the white fluff. I wonder if the winter will be snowy this year. I liked running in the snow. Last year there was quite a bit of snow, but not... Wait. Was it for long or not? But there was quite a bit of snow, and I did have a few enjoyable runs in the snow, so that was nice. Somehow it made me feel calm. For, to be fair, if there will be snow, I would actually need to go and get new running shoes. Sorry. Because what I have now, well, it's getting broken. Basically, the material is getting cut quite a lot already. I should switch. And I'm like, my legs don't hurt yet. Let's go with them. The girl rumbled something incomprehensible. She finally regained her consciousness. Dark circles formed under her slightly puffy eyes. At first, she just laid down and watched the ceiling with a funny look on her face. I remained still because I didn't want to interrupt her morning routine. After a while, she turned to my direction, and our eyes met again. Yo. Her reaction made me perplexed. I thought that she would be at least a little shocked. There was no gasp, no running away, not a single puzzlement. She acted as if everything was normal.
Pa, don't be ridiculous. Go outside and hunt something. You were sitting on your lazy ass all this time.
I blinked. For a brief moment I thought that she was talking to me because when the girl spoke she didn't bother to avert her gaze. The big cat moved from its lair and lazily approached its master. A dissatisfied purr came out from its throat. I can't do a purr, sorry. Holy crap. I can do a yawn for because it constantly happens when I'm recording now. I'm sorry so much about that. It's because it's at night, constantly. The vibrating noise climbed my skin and gave me goosebumps. Woo. It didn't last long since the beast left the room shortly after its morning greeting.
So, what should I do with you now?
The tone of her voice was crabby. Today she was different, confident even. My presence annoyed her. I didn't have a chance to pull a stunt from yesterday. It was time to change my strategy. I had to play dumb. She sighed heavily, which seemed to be her usual manner. Then she presented herself.
Vienna. Or Vienna. 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 Vienna.
There. It was a nice name. I tried to look confused and lost by her words. She didn't give up.
Vienna.
Vienna. I repeated after her, and I didn't want to look that stupid. She smiled happily, and pointed the finger at me. Vesper.
Vesper.
Yeah, I wanted to sound unsure. A feeling of embarrassment stung my pride.
What's pride?
She clapped her hands enthusiastically. Somehow she regained her good humor.
Excellent! So, if we manage to go smoothly through the introduction, I have to admit that you're not as damp as you look. Ow! You catch things quite quickly, so I hope that you will get well soon and start doing manual labor for me.
She blurted all those words fast. There was a wide smile on her face. She mocked me. It made me wild, but I remained calm. I knew I should be careful. It was a test.
Stay here. I'm not a pet.
It was a dry command. She wanted to leave the room. Out of for fuck's sake. Out of contrariness, I got up to follow her. It didn't end well for me. She smacked me with a baseball bat in the head. I was soon reminded that my body was still malnourished from a deep sleep. I tried to stand up too quickly. Oh. What's up, doggo? I've said this story, but surely, like 99% of people here don't know it. Not so long ago. Actually, pretty long ago now that I think about it. I think it's been a year already. My grandpa did that. He stood up too quickly. And he lost balance. Hit the freaking wooden armchair. And his thigh bone snapped. So be careful with that. Anyway, the result was easy to imagine as I loudly fell down soon after. Disgraceful. At least it was veracious. It was a weird situation for, like, you know, getting called.
Come on, drive to us, we need help.
That's not how my grandma sounds, by the way. But yeah. They're like, it was weird, like, you know, because the grandpa was on the floor and was like, yeah, I would like to get on the bed. Grandma was, we can get you to the bed, yeah. I'm like, yeah, I think it's not a good idea, you know. Like, you know, there was that weird feeling that, yeah, I mean, he can't get up at all. He snapped the bone, didn't he? And I'm like, yeah, let's better not do that. Yeah. And so eventually we got the freaking ambulance there. 2 dudes arrived. And what? Yeah, the bone broke. Good prediction from me. But yeah, I mean, could have gone worse, right? If you actually tried to get him on the bed. Whatever. Anyway, this story is now. This is the story we are. Mirage Noir Prologue. Not some my weird ass stories from the past. Anyway. Vienna immediately stopped and ran towards me to help me stand up. She was quite strong. I was surprised when she aided me with no trouble. I definitely was heavier than her. However, she might have more, like, muscle compared to you, right? Her body frame was slim, so how on earth she helped me without breaking a sweat? Normally. I mean, it's possible. Fear on her face smoothly changed into discontent. She made it clear that I mustn't get up, using very verbal words. I didn't argue with her, she was right. How could I not anticipate this earlier? I shouldn't get up until I regain some of my energy. Finally, she left the room. She made a noise in the next one. Those sounds were quite familiar to me. Was she in the kitchen? After a while I could smell something tasty, and my stomach reminded me of its existence. It rumbled like a bag of shaken stones. I didn't eat that for so long. I wasn't sure if I still knew how food tasted like. Not long after Vienna came back inside. She held a wooden tray in her hands. Funny thing, actually, one of the reasons I have this coffee table slash kind of storage basket is so I can do that, literally to get food and eat in bed. Oh boy, I actually have two of those. The other one like right beside the freaking table. It's freaking useful, not gonna lie. Because one, you can put stuff in it. Two, you can put stuff on it. Yeah, anyway, she approached me with food and placed it on the quilt, right before me. My nose was struck with a nostalgic aroma. I didn't have the pleasure to eat for such a long time. In just a few seconds, I would turn into a beast and devour this tasty smelling meal. She was amused, as if my anguish caused her fun. It didn't matter. I would wildly take a plunge into the delectable looking me... Groats? She gave me the groats? A sticky mash filled with disgusting lumps and no aroma. Which I would say makes sense, I mean, given that the state you were in, right? It's not like you can get everything out of the bath that is like delicious and stuff, right? Unfortunately, you need to get used to the food now. That's how it is. And how do I know it? Because I've been on a diet like this before. Freaking what's it called? Fuck, I forgot how it's called. I've been telling these stories again, and it's another hospital story. What the hell? The word is appendix, exactly. I had appendix cut out. And after that, the diet. Anyway, I saw how Vienna bit a juicy chicken leg. She was truly barbaric. The fat slowly trickled down from her chin. Fat? What? Why would you have fat on your chicken? Get rid of it. There was a triumph on her face when she glared at me, my shocked face. I was pretty sure she knew perfectly what I thought. No. Yeah, I hope she did. That there should be no fat. I wasn't a child. I wouldn't get carried away so easily. I maintained my usual expression and calmly ate my stew. I wouldn't mind a stew now, to be honest. When she saw I wasn't bothered by her joke, she stopped her immature teasing and smiled weakly. She was unsure about something. Vienna touched my arm and shook it impatiently. While I tried to eat, at first I didn't know what she tried to do, but then it struck me that she wanted to communicate with me. She wasn't able to send me visions on her own. I wasn't sure if I should humor her, but she didn't stop pestering me. Well, she knew about it anyway, so there was no use to pretend. I opened my mind to communicate with her. The received vision overflowed with concern about my well-being. She highlighted she would give me only food that was easy on the stomach. Exactly. Correct. It also contained some pictures of books, lack of knowledge and vision of the future. I got it. She wanted me to learn her language. I confirmed that I understood her. The thought transfer finished with that. I shouldn't lie about the language, yeah. Now I had to maintain it. Oh, for fuck's sake, right? It was going to be a pain in the ass. She was content with our little exchange. She finished her food quicker than me, but she patiently waited until I ate everything. I don't like doing that. I really don't like doing that, having to wait. It's annoying. Especially if someone makes noise while eating. When I was done, she took the dishes and spoke.
Get some rest. I know that you didn't get any rest last night.
While she talked to me, she made a hand gesture that suggested I should get some sleep. Like what? Something like that? I'm guessing here. I shook my head. I hoped that she would just let it go. I was haunted by the interest feeling that I wouldn't wake up again. I knew it was irrational, but I wanted to postpone it as long as I could. Okay. Vienna wasn't pleased and she repeated the same gesture she did before. I replied to her in the same way. And again. And again. Her persistence annoyed me, but I didn't show my irritation. Because I was also persistent, which might have annoyed her at the same time, but yeah. Vienna gave up after a while. I was relieved she finally accepted my decision. She took the tray and walked out of the room. It didn't take her long to come back with water and some rusks. I took them gladly. I want to kill the awful taste of the mushy pulp I ate before. I didn't sense any danger. But it's weird, like, the way she ate the chicken, I guess, sure, it's not something he could eat. But you can still prepare chicken in a way that would be good for someone recovering. Because I did eat it like that. Anyway, as a person she was a bit mean, but her demeanor was honest. Which is freaking awesome. Oh, I was so wrong about that. At first, everything was okay. The minute after I drank the damn water, dizziness overcame me. Sneaky little girl. Giving him some sleeping medicine. My eyes had lost its focus and all my surroundings went blurry. It quickly transitioned into the darkness. The last thing I saw was that witch leaning over me. Her mocking laugh rang into my ears. I deserve it for being this stupid.
I hated liars. Most of all, I hated the insolent ones. He deceived me for the word he opened his eyes. I tried several things to provoke him, but instead he was played. He played an innocent fool. He could succeed if I was a regular peasant. I wouldn't say he was a terrible actor. He just had the bad luck to cross his path with a specialist. When I regained consciousness after the ritual, I was aware of what kind of person I had to deal with. He exposed himself when he tried to affect my emotions. I was unable to guard myself as I was exhausted from my astral journey. Vesper flawlessly read my state of mind and used it against me. Yet he made one big mistake. He left the entrance to his Psy unguarded. At first I had the impression he was an experienced soul eater, so I couldn't quite understand why he made such a basic mistake. How could I not use it to my advantage? I didn't plan to deceive a decent person after all. Thought I had to admit. I was amazed how dedicated he was into keeping up the facade. He really did stick to his initial plan of acting like an idiot. His face was spectacularly damp when we went through the introductions. God, it made me mad. I was slightly satisfied when he got out of bed and fell down straight onto his stupid face. His actions did startle me and I actually got scared he would get hurt. I was still tired, but I didn't hesitate to draw some nearby energy to strengthen my muscles.
Ah, interesting. So that's how it is.
He didn't protest when I helped him get back to the bed. For the first time, he felt the limitations of his malnourished body. When I was sure he wouldn't try anything stupid, I left the room. Maybe I should cook something fancier. Yesterday I got some chicken meat from the blacksmith's wife. When everything was ready, I took the food and carried it to the room. His expression was priceless. It was so hard for me not to burst into mean laughter. Somehow I managed to maintain a calm posture and conducted the rest of my plan. I approached him calmly and placed my palm to his chest. A soft, helpless look should do the trick. I urged him to open a connection between us. His invitation was crucial. After a while I got it.
You got what?
I sent him a vision of what was going to happen in the near future. Nothing that actually mattered, but it was a good small screen.
What do you mean? What do you mean smoke screen?
My true agenda was to gain some knowledge about him and his past.
Which makes sense, obviously.
The only helpful intel I got out of him was a bloody memory of a white-haired woman. Somehow he also could speak several languages, including mine. That bastard! I knew he lied, but I actually pitied him. There was nothing more.
I mean, then again, he woke up somewhere out of nowhere, right? He doesn't know who you are. I mean, I guess maybe in some way to protect himself as well, right? Anyway.
Most of his memory was wiped clean. So this is the price he paid.
Huh?
Inconvenient, but could be worse.
Price for what?
At least wasn't something that would cripple him for life. It was an immediate trade-off. But he really was a scumbag. The fact that he blatantly lied from the very first moment was undeniable. My intentions weren't pure either, but now I didn't have to feel bad about them. Still, he probably behaved like that purely on instinct. The fear of the unknown was strong within him. The prison he was trapped in for all those years was not something I envied. Something changed. The air around me got static. Something bounced off my mental barrier. He attempted to search the memories I had, but he went away empty-handed. Why was he so sloppy? It was unthinkable. If only Chambira could see this, she would have rolled her eyes too. It was the time to stop the mind games. I found everything I wished for. For a person who didn't see food in a long time, Vesper ate quite slowly, carefully chewing every portion. I anticipated he would devour his dish in a more raw manner, but no such thing happened. Instead, he held his spoon like a noble. The manner he raised the spoon to his mouth was quite refined. It reminded me of all those elegant people I had seen in my past. Most of the guys who lived around here would just take the spoon, eat vigorously until they were full, and quaff their meal with a lot of beer.
That's not me. Beer is disgusting.
There was a certain charm to his mannerism. He could be someone highborn, or at least acquainted with rich folk. There was nothing in his mind, but maybe the man's habits would tell me the tale. I noted that I should keep a closer look on his body language. My irrelevant thoughts absorbed me. I noticed when his bowl was emptied. When I gathered the dishes, I used gesture to suggest he should get some sleep. He smiled and shook his head. He didn't plan on following my request. I tried again, but the man was just too stubborn. In his case, the fear of falling asleep was understandable. Still, he should get a rest. I had to use something a bit more drastic. If he couldn't confront his fears, he just needed one encouraging push. I left the room and leisurely searched for a specific item in my cupboard. Here it is! From the back of the shelf I took a little flask which contained a white powder. I opened it carefully and inserted a bit of the substance into a prepared glass of water. I'm losing voice. It vanished with a silent face. I got some rusks to mask my true intentions. When I approached him again, he didn't suspect anything. He took the water and gulped it down. He really was thirsty. If I were him, I would be at least a bit doubtful. Weird man, very weird man. It was going to be a valuable lesson for him. Oh, about the time! I saw a faint shadow of fear on Vesper's face. The glass he was holding silently slipped onto the sheets. I did try to contain my laughter, but I couldn't. I didn't care if he wouldn't trust me when he wakes up. There was no way he would go to sleep on his own. He needed a shock therapy.
I actually feel a bit bad for him.
The dose I gave him should let him sleep soundly for quite some time. There was a lot to do and he wasn't easy to deal with, but I allowed myself to be optimistic. Now I knew he was fine, and his skills could be a useful asset in the future. First I should collect some clothes for him. I didn't think he would be satisfied with wearing my old nightgowns. Yeah,
That would be kind of weird, yeah.
maybe I could get some of these Borsalt clothes. They had a similar body build. There also was this little charade with learning the language. Champion used to give lessons. She should have useful books. I smiled as I planned on a few surprises for Vesper. I want to amuse myself a bit longer.
Which is also understandable, I guess. Alright, let's cut it here. We'll continue tomorrow. Hope to see you guys there as well. I would love to continue recording tonight, but I think I'm out of it really. Even though it's Friday, but I started recording so late that, yeah, I guess hopefully Saturday night will be the night where I could prepare a bit more. So yeah. Oh boy, the one last yawn on the video, on this video. In the next one probably there will be more knowing life. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Hope you have a wonderful weekend. Wait, this is not going to be released on weekend. Hope you have a wonderful week, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye bye.